The House of Us is a Filipino romantic drama, directed by Cathy Garcia-Molina, starring Kathryn Bernardo as George and Daniel Padilla as Primo. George is an aspiring doctor, and Primo is an aspiring musician. Although they have conflicting career paths and personalities, they end up in a long-term relationship and take co-ownership of a house left to them by George's close family member. Once the couple starts to struggle financially and emotionally, a fed-up George tearfully breaks up with Primo, and Primo leaves the country. Years later, as George tries to sell their shared home to take care of her family's needs, Primo returns and prevents her from selling the house. The movie then revolves around Primo's attempts at winning back a reluctant George and explores the complexities of their relationship. At the time of its release, The House of Us is the highest-grossing Filipino film of all time, being the first to earn more than 600 million pesos domestically. I think a lot of the film's success obviously comes from the popularity of its leading actors. Kathryn Bernardo and Daniel Padilla, although relatively young, have been in show business for years and have already made names for themselves. Padilla in particular has been known in the Philippines as the Teen King and the King of Hearts. The House of Us isn't the first time the two have taken the lead roles in a romantic film, and taking into account the amount of times this has happened, which is several, it comes to no surprise that Bernardo and Padilla have publicly admitted that they have been in a relationship spanning multiple years. Their on- and off-screen romance makes its way into this movie through their natural chemistry and their strong individual performances. They complement each other through convincing portrayals of each of their characters. Bernardo plays George, who is bright and witty, yet so caring that she forgets to look out for her own well-being. And Padilla plays Primo, who is charming and confident, yet so proud that he comes off as inconsiderate. Given that these characters fit into archetypes that are stereotypical of romantic films, I appreciate that the movie self-acknowledgingly sets up scenes with predictably corny outcomes, only to comedically break the expectation at the last moment. For example, there's a scene where George is able to convince Primo to agree to something because he's too preoccupied lusting over her body. When Primo attempts to do the same thing back, it seems as if he's about to succeed, until George shuts him down at the last second. This device continues on with the movie's much more serious scenes in the second half, where we expect a certain outcome, only for a different outcome to occur, but now for poignant effect. Through this trend, the film sets itself apart from others by exploring elements of romance that often go unaddressed. In one case, the leads are pressured into spending some time alone in a romantic setting, but they silently and mutually agree not to do anything intimate. Unexpected outcomes such as these take on a much more realistic and relatable approach. When it came to the ending then, I was a bit dissatisfied because they didn't apply this trend and instead opted for the safer, predictable ending. More so, George herself explains earlier in the film that one problem she has with getting back with Primo is that she feels that she has nothing to gain, only getting back to where she started. The movie was building a depth to the characters that seemed to move towards a solution, but then the predictable ending left the problem unanswered. Although I liked the acting and found the film to have its own original elements, I feel that the script could have been improved in some areas. In many scenes, the dialogue fell on emotional, sentimental, hugot lines that needlessly vocalized any symbolism. They usually came out unnatural and seemed to be there just to increase the quotability of the film. Another area I felt could have been better was George's brother Johan. I felt that the character had no other reason to be in the film than to start going blind and motivate the plot. His only noteworthy actions in the film were to constantly nag George into being with Primo. For Johan's importance to the story, he was dismissible. This is in contrast to a character that I did like, Miko. He was a representation of the life that George was working towards and remained a voice of reason as George's friend. This character had consistently meaningful scenes that contributed to the enjoyability of the movie. Overall, besides some improvements that could be made to its script and plot elements, this movie has a recognizable story with good acting and a fair amount of originality that is enjoyable to watch. And with that, I give The House of Us a 7.5 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe for more content and to leave a like and a comment below. Until next time.